Hi, Aya. How you doing?
Just fine. We are live, and today we're going to do a tutorial for all our people who come on our live stream.
I know it'll be exciting because I know people struggle a lot with figuring out, like, what do I click on? How do I follow the link? Is it via Facebook? There's a lot of confusion, and I think we can clear it up with this video.
Yeah, I believe we can. So are you going to share this? I'm going to try to see if I can.
Yeah, I will share it right now, actually. So are you on your secondary channel, I believe, right?
Yes, I am, which means that I should go on my other computer. I should be on my main channel to be able to see this, right? So
yeah, I'm going to go to your secondary channel and find you there so I can share it. I want to make sure that I mute it so nobody can hear us. Then I'm going to share it to Facebook. Share to Facebook. Wait a minute. If this is behaving in something else. Hats and I are streaming about how to enter the Google Hangouts. I'm just going to share it here on Facebook momentarily, or currently at the moment. I'm not going to bother with Twitter because Twitter is just being naughty. Well, I guess I could. I can try.
I've already shared it to my Twitter, so.
Okay, perfect. Okay, then we don't worry about that.
Yeah, I think we're fine. Okay, so how shall we go about explaining how to go into a Hangout?
Well, I was thinking we wanted to be able to show people step by step. However, that would require us leaving the Hangout, which is kind of tricky. I just thought about that right now. That is the tricky component to this.
Okay, here's what I think we can do is one of us will be screen sharing and the other of us could be inviting on a different channel. So for instance, I could go into my other channel that I'm not on right now, my main channel, and I could send you an invitation and you could be screen sharing your screen when you receive that invitation.
Okay, so we can try that and see if that works. Okay, so you want me to go ahead and go into screen share at this moment? Let me get back.
No, you don't have to do that. Just let me set up another Hangout on my other channel. I don't know if they'll let me do all that, but we'll see, okay?
Okay, let's try.
Yeah, so because some of the challenge of all of this is that people don't know what they're going to see. So I am on my other channel and I'm actually watching this. So I should stop watching this and I should act like I'm pretending that I'm not in one live stream. And I probably should have set that up before, but so I go into the place where we normally live stream.
Okay.
Hold on. It's not behaving exactly the way that it did.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. I was almost thinking, just a thought, I could open this up, okay, and log in on a different web browser and maybe try, just a thought.
Okay.
And try joining the chat. Okay, so I was going to try this. This was just a thought. Like I can go in.
Okay, that might be a better idea.
See if I can invite myself to this current. I want to see if I can do it. Unless you want to keep trying what you were doing.
Well, I'll keep trying, but it doesn't seem. I don't know how they know, but they seem to know that I'm already doing this.
I think it's because you're the MC, and I wonder. Okay, because if I open up Internet Explorer as opposed to Chrome, which I still have both, but right now it seems to be lagging since I'm on Chrome.
Yeah, I think I won't be able to do two of these because
I'm gonna try
one.
I'm going to try and do it through, I'm going to try to invite my other account to come live with us. That's what I'm going to do.
Okay.
I'm going to see if it works. Because, let's see if I can do it. I have a feeling maybe I can. Maybe. We'll see.
Okay.
So I'm going into Google. First, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Google Hangouts.
Okay.
And they're my second account. And what I think might work. Okay, this is so clunky. It's not how I envisioned it. Okay. No, that looks good. Okay. Maybe that'll work. And then I'm going to go back here to Chrome. I'm going to close that up. We don't want to see that. That'd be weird. And then, okay, let's see. What am I doing, Julie? Okay, I want to try. There is this thing where you can share, not the link, but you can share, I think, the link to adding more people. No, not that. Okay. Now I feel like I'm not doing. Well, I think you can actually share the link to the main. Okay. Because I know there's a way to add more people, but I think I've seen it before when I'm an MC. So I'm trying to see if I can do this. Copy. Let's see, I just want to see if it works. I do it this way. Let's see, in here. Paste. Okay, I think it might be working, but I'll have to go back to Google Hangouts that we're in currently, the Hangout. Go into screen share. Share. Now I'm going to go into, I have the plugin for it. Don't be ridiculous. I already have that plugin. I don't know why you're acting out like that thing. You were fine. Maybe it thinks I don't have it or something. Oh, it might not because, but what I'm doing, and this might actually help somebody in the long run, is if you're not on Chrome, let's say you're on some old browser, it's going to ask you to install the Google Hangout plugin. So maybe this is useful to someone because since I went into a second browser that doesn't have Chrome, that's not Chrome, it's saying it wasn't compatible with Google Hangouts. And we do hear this a lot, actually, that, oh, I'm seeming to have a compatibility issue. So maybe this will do the trick. The only issue is it seems to think that I'm connected to both accounts. So we'll have to see if it works or not.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's not really supposed to know who we are on each account, but it seems to already.
You know what? I have a secondary account. I'm going to sign out. I'm going to stop sharing for a minute.
Okay.
And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to I have a secondary account that it shouldn't know it's tied to anybody because it's not. It's not tied to any of these other accounts, but on my phone, they're both tied to each other. So I think it's somehow, oh, you guys are all the same. So let me try this. No, that is right. No, that's not right, actually. Right, so I'm not in screen share anymore, right?
No, we just see you.
Okay, perfect. That's what I want. Okay, so let me see. Google Hangouts. I'm just trying in this other browser to get back to where Google Hangouts lives. And then I'll go back in the screen share and see if maybe here, because this is a different account. It's not connected to anybody. So I think maybe here. Except it says you missed a call from me, and it's saying I have to, it's giving me all these, which is so weird. Like, I hope it doesn't know. Like, it's being so finicky. Okay, so, all right. Oh, I have a bad feeling it might know. I'm going to try anyway.
Okay.
So, okay, because I think I kind of see now. Let's see. I think I see now what I can do actually. And I'm going to see if it'll behave and do what I want. Okay, so I'm going to go into screen share again. Share. All right. So this is going to be the best attempt that I can try. So what I did here was I took the link to our Hangout and I kind of have to have it copied into here. Now it's not copying though. Paste. That's what we want. So I did have to paste it into here momentarily so I can trigger the Hangout to pop up into the, and I think it's going to think I'm someone else now for sure. Okay, see, so it has to think I'm a different person this time, even though it might not.
Okay, so it is it now showing you what you have to sign to agree to?
Yeah, this is what it's saying. You are about to join a Google Hangout on air. Before you join, like you read all this information, you have to check mark, I have read and I understand this information about the Google Hangout. And then you click, okay, I got it. And then down here it says join. And let's see if it'll let this third account join.
Okay, we're probably having feedback problems.
Okay. Did you see two of me?
Yeah, something like that.
So it did work, okay? But what happened was
it did
going because there's two of me on the same computer. So that was the issue, you see. So, but ideally, if it's somebody else, that wouldn't be happening because there wouldn't be two of them. But since it was two of me, I was like echoing, and that's what caused that noise. So I'm going to stop sharing, but I think it worked.
Yeah, it did.
So I see exactly what we need to do. Like what we need to do is just copy the link from the Google Hangout. We give it to the person. I think the issue they might be having is that maybe they're on a browser that's not Chrome and they need to click install to install that they can allow Chrome. And then they just need to click OK to join. Like, I hope that works. I hope that makes it more simple, unless you think that was too complicated for people to follow.
Well, I think it was pretty simple, but maybe what we need to do, and maybe you'd like to do it on your blog, is just take a few screenshots and have a simple follow to order, you know.
Yeah, that might be better. I think I was just thinking about that too. And then, yeah, or I don't know, a lot of people are super lazy and they're not going to visit my blog. Should I do it on Facebook? I'd rather do it on my blog, but should I maybe just do it?
No, you can do it on your blog. Our next guest is going to be Kate Gladstone.
Okay.
And I will send her a link to your blog after you've done that. And she's a very good person. If you give her very specific directions, she will follow them. So
okay, very good. I think that would work because I think just doing like picture by picture and just really breaking it down might be what will fix the issue with that Google Hangout.
Right. And it could help Leslie the next time we do it. I hope that we have another Filksing with Leslie on my main channel in about a month. Don't you think that would be a good thing to do?
I would like to do that. I also think like too, I would like to do one with Kelly as well. Does Kelly also want to do one too? Like with some
yes, absolutely.
Like, because I think it's great when we do it all together. But I also would like to give each a chance to like focus on their own music genre, so we can kind of focus on that, like one person at a time, maybe two, or together, however you guys all decide.
Yeah, no, I actually have other reasons to invite Kelly. We're working together on a baby book. And actually, I'm the one who's holding us up, but we're going. I'm going to put out a book about. It's called Sword Chooses, and it's a very simple baby book, but it's in 2 languages, Hebrew and English. And Kelly is going to read it for Audible.
Oh, wow. So, good. Very nice. Okay.
We have this project we're working on, and I would like to have him on also to talk about that. But he could also, you know, sing and play while he's talking.
Well, there we go. That's the perfect opportunity for him to do that. And I also want to see more of what Leslie has to sing. And her stories are great. I love her stories. She's just so interesting. I'm like, I could sit there and listen to her for hours. She's such an entertaining, interesting person.
Yes, she is. Yes, and she has enough material for 17,000 folk sings. So she'll never run out of material, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I'm just like, and what was the story she was telling about? Some movie she had seen or something? That, oh yeah, the Star Wars. Like she had a whole story behind it. I'm like, I usually just go to the movies. That's just so cool.
Actually, if it was that episode, that first episode 1 or whatever, is that the one where Luke Skywalker? No, it was. Darth Vader was a child, right?
It was like that. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Okay. And that came out in
I think 1999. But I didn't go to see it at the theater at the time. But I just like, I remember I go to the movies. I don't have the most memorable opera, like, and I just loved her story. That was all. She's so interesting and great songs.
Actually, I have a story too, but it's not as interesting as hers. Sword was she was a newborn, and that movie came out, and I took her with me. I went to see the movie, but I kind of missed a lot of it because I wasn't used to how it is when you have a baby.
That would be tricky, I can imagine, especially if you're going by yourself, like it would be difficult, I think. I remember many times when I went to go see a movie as a kid, like I'd be sitting in the theater by myself because my one sister Rihanna had to go to the bathroom constantly, and I realized that I watched all of Batman by myself because my mom was constantly taking her to the bathroom, and I was like, I was in the theater just all by myself. I was like, okay, that's interesting. That's really my only movie story that I have. Or when we went to go see The Gladiator, there was this guy like narrating the movie. Like he'd be like deep, intriguing. Like he would have a comment about every line of the movie, but nothing real exciting. So I really enjoyed her story.
Yeah, her stories are special. I mean, they have a special kind of flavor to them.
Exactly. So was there anything else we wanted to add about how to get into the Google Hangout before we sign off or anything?
Well, I don't know that there's anything to add to that, but we could, I mean, if you've got a few moments, we could just talk about other things.
I want to talk about anything. I didn't know like what you had to do or if there was anything coming up, but do you have any projects that you wanted to share with people on this channel coming up or anything?
Well, there's that one with the Audible project with Kelly Clear. That's what's going on with that. And once we get that out of the way, then it might be possible to also get some of my short stories also, like that
one F. Are you going to do anything else with that? Or
well, yeah, I have a number of short stories in the science fiction genre, and F is one of them. And so I thought I would go ahead and also publish those. The thing that's happened, the reason I'm behind on all of this is that I don't know whether you know it, but CreateSpace is no longer. It does not exist any longer.
Oh, that's strange. So what do people do now?
Well, Kindle has taken it over, and I don't like that. And I'm old-fashioned. It took me a while. Back in 2010 or so, I learned how to use CreateSpace in order to publish books. I publish my books and publish books by other people as well. And under the inverted A press symbol. So it took me a while to learn, and I started small. I started with children's books, and then I got to the point where I was publishing rather large novels.
Yeah, definitely. Like Our Lady of Kaifeng, Vacuum County, you have quite a few.
Right. And the thing is, to me, that was something that I invested in learning how to do that kind of publishing.
Yeah, of course.
So, I mean, there are some things about it that are completely arbitrary, and each, each company, each portal on the internet has different rules. You have to learn how to use their rules, go by their rules, and so now they're saying, well, you don't have to typeset your book the way you learned how to do it. You can just bring it up as a Kindle book, and then we'll publish it as a print book. But I don't know that it will look the same. I worked really hard to get my print books to look a certain way.
No, I know, I understand. I have a question though. Can you do will they give you a free copy to see if you like the way that it looks in the Kindle print format? Just to give you a teaser of it or anything?
Well, I mean, you can see that online. There's some editing software where they can show it to you online. But what we used to do in CreateSpace is we would actually pay for a proof. I mean, it wasn't free, but when you were working on a book, you would order a proof and it still hadn't been published, and you could go over it and mark all your mistakes and fix them.
Oh yeah, definitely. Do they offer that anymore?
I don't really know what they do, because now instead of starting with a print book, I have to start with a Kindle book. And I'll tell you the truth, I was never the best at editing Kindle books. That was my weak spot, so that's not where I started.
Yeah, for sure. Like, you learned one format and now you have to learn a new format. Maybe, I mean, it's kind of disappointing, but since this is the way it's going with the e-reader, maybe just see what it looks like, because this gives you, Kindle is big. So I don't know.
Well, I have books on Kindle. F is on Kindle.
Oh, that's true. F is on Kindle, right? So
yeah, F is on Kindle.
I need to finish reading and reviewing, by the way. Like, I kind of fell behind on that too, so I really do want to do that.
Okay, well, I'll be happy to hear what you have to say about it. But anyway, no, it's just that the few who count is only on Kindle, and it's not in print. It's not a printed book right now.
Yeah.
But I didn't like the way it looked in Kindle. I don't know. I mean, you read it. Didn't it look kind of a little bit wonky?
It was a little wonky, but I'd have to go back and look at it to see, because it's been a long time. Also, I read it on a computer. I didn't read it on a device, so I can't really say how would it look on a device, although I'm thinking it's pretty much the same. But I'll look again, because I can just log in later and take a look and see what I think,
Right. So I just never got the hang of it, because basically Kindle is HTML.
Mm-hmm. Oh, HTML. Okay, so it's like a lot of coding and things.
Yeah, it's not what you see is what you get.
You have to code. That's kind of annoying. Why? That makes it difficult.
Yeah, so I never feel good about it. I never have it look exactly the way I would love for it to look.
Mm-hmm.
And with the print books, I really had control over it, because I knew exactly what it was going to look like before I released it.
Yeah, and you felt much more like invested, or just confident about the final product. That's unfortunate. It sounds like they're making it a little bit more difficult for people that might be publishing on Kindle then, if you have to do all that.
I mean, yeah, but there are people who just publish on Kindle, so that's fine. But I did both, and I was so much better at the print books. Okay. And now I'm afraid that the print books are going to be derivative of, I mean, that's what they're saying. They derive their print books now from the Kindle books. Okay. So the Kindle book is not going to look that great. And the print book, how am I even going to correct it? If I need to move something a millimeter in a different direction, how am I going to do that? You see what I'm saying?
I see what you're saying. It sounds like you're going to have somebody that's really good at HTML that maybe can like advise you a little bit on that. Perhaps that's my only guess.
Well, or I have to learn everything all all over again, and I can. It's just as you get older, learning new things takes longer. That's
Yeah,
all.
exactly. It takes longer, and plus, maybe it's nice the old way. Like, I don't know how that's an improvement if you have to do all these steps. And let's say you're a new person to publishing, does that make people want to publish on Kindle right away? I don't know. It seems like CreateSpace was more user friendly, perhaps, too.
Yeah, it was, and there was a community of people who helped each other out. I don't know if you remember that, but you were there too, right?
Yeah, I was there too because I thought about publishing a book, but at the time I decided after I wrote the rough draft for my book, because I was told it wasn't very entertaining, that I didn't think I would progress on with it. So it just never happened because I was told it was pretty boring.
Well, I don't know who told you that. I didn't get a chance to read it, but I remember you were on there. I had a blog on there. You know, I was
I remember
there.
that. Yeah, it was nice. It was another place that you could share things that you were doing at the time.
Right. And all of that has disappeared. I don't think I have copies of any of it. It's gone. They just
They just took it away. It's almost like, I guess they just decided they wanted to streamline. I think Amazon's going to where they want to do more just the Prime product, the Kindle. They keep changing things, just like with Google, where they take away things and they don't really explain, like, oh, Google Plus is gone. And it's kind of sad in a way. I feel like a lot of these communities were things people use, but now they're just like, it's gone, no explanation.
Right. So it doesn't make me want to trust in any of these companies because I know tomorrow, I don't know, maybe all our YouTube channels will disappear because they'll say, hey, we decided we're not doing that anymore.
That would be very unfortunate. Here's another thought. Is there a way that you can maybe publish the books yourself, but publish it on Amazon? Too bad there's not a way that you can do that without using Kindle.
I mean, that is, CreateSpace was a way to publish the books on Amazon.
No, I know that was, but is there any way you can do it without using Kindle is my next question.
Well, there are some other services. You know, I looked into all the ones that there were at the time when I chose CreateSpace, and it seemed like the best one at the time.
Yeah.
There are some other ones, but I don't want to invest in any of them, you know, because they're all kind of fly-by-night services. I know that sounds crazy, but even the big companies are kind of fly-by-night.
Yeah, a lot of the startups are, because look at what happened with Hub Pages. They're like, we started out of our garage and we're so big now and look at us. And then they sold off to some other subsidiary now, right? It's not even really Hub Pages anymore. They sold out, you know, they're gone, essentially.
Right. Yeah.
Even though they say, oh, we're still here, but they're not what they once were 10 years ago. I guess you would say, not 15, 10. That's no longer. They have a community, but I don't really understand how it works. Like, remember, you had to write these detailed hubs. And then I was looking on there, and my friend Cherish was saying, she goes, it's really confusing because people are just posting pictures. And she didn't understand why. She goes, it's like not informative anymore. And that was okay. Like, they used to tell us that wasn't okay. So I don't know. It's completely different now.
I guess they want to be Instagram.
Yeah, everybody wants to be Instagram because I guess that makes the bucks. Like, but I don't even know. Like, I would like, there's got to be a way that you could publish somehow and have it on Amazon. I just wish there was another way than Kindle. That's all. I guess I'm just.
Well, look, listen, I used to publish by doing offset printing. I just thought the printing on demand was a better way, you know?
Yeah, I think so. In general, print on demand is the better way because you're not printing in advance and getting that income. I don't know. Maybe they just decided. I know Amazon's streamlining a lot of things. I think they're deciding to focus on their services that bring in the most money right now, which is Amazon Prime and Amazon. You know, a couple other things that.
I think what they're doing is they have their own publishing company and they don't actually want us to compete with them any longer.
Well, is there any way that you can utilize their publishing company and remain independent publishing, or no? Do you have to go through their?
No, you have to go through their editors, and they, in all likelihood, would not accept my material. So
that's unfortunate. It's almost like they're making it harder for small presses to exist in a way. I don't know, like, or they're trying.
It's the same thing as the fake news business with the online publishing. You know, there was a window of opportunity for small independent journalists, writers, publishers to get out there and to appeal directly to the public without going through an intermediary. But the big companies didn't like that, you know?
No, they didn't. And it's unfortunate because there's a lot of news stories right now. I mean, they aren't just going to get out there because right now on the news, there's just one narrative really, or they just talk about one thing and it's a pretty national topic. I don't think any international news stories are covered at all at this point in US media. Let's just be honest. Like, and it's funny, like, not to put down anybody left-leaning. I'm left-leaning on some issues, but I feel more libertarian on most these days. But the problem is we only talk about our own news, politics, and I don't think that's very educational, but that's just my opinion. And from one perspective. So I get
from just one single perspective. And then we're allowed to be, you know, we're allowed to be Republicans or Democrats. We're in fact encouraged to do that and to squabble with each other, but we're not allowed to have any other different positions than those.
No, and I don't want to be I never envisioned myself as a Republican, but I certainly don't want to be a Democrat anymore. And I don't feel at home in either party. And I don't really care, like, who is spending millions of dollars. Like, this is what we're hearing now. Like, supposedly Bernie Sanders is a person of the people, but he's just raising millions of dollars to run. Did Gary Johnson raise millions of dollars to run? Because I don't remember him doing that. No, he didn't. So why is that appealing to me? Because it's certainly not. That doesn't sound like you know, I don't know. I'm just not invested in this Democrat versus Republican, let's squabble, myopic viewpoint anymore. But that's just my take on it.
Yeah, well, you know, today I had this experience on Facebook where somebody had posted a meme and it was about Teddy Roosevelt. It was, I don't know, you might have seen it. But it was a quote from Teddy Roosevelt that we have only room for one language in the United States and nobody should speak any other language or something like that. There's only room for English, and there's only room for one flag, and there's only room for one nationality. So I commented on that and said, you know, we actually do have 50 states. Each one of the states has a flag. And I said, you know, and people can speak whatever the language they want to at home or in their own private businesses. Okay.
This is the thing about the era of Teddy Roosevelt leading up to Prohibition. Like, it wasn't really about wanting to save the public from drunkards. Do you know the whole reason that Prohibition actually was enacted?
I'm not sure. Why don't you tell me?
Okay, so I watched a documentary about it, and people say, oh, it's slanted, but most of the beer makers were of German descent. So around 1919, they wanted to punish those people because they stopped teaching German language in the high schools. So they thought a great way to punish them would be, oh, let's ban the sale of liquor in the United States. It wasn't that they wanted to save the public. It was that they wanted to punish a certain group of people.
Wow.
That's what it was really about. And a lot of people said that that documentary was slanted, but it certainly wasn't, because that's the truth, because the temperance movement had been around for decades before, but all of a sudden you have a political event that takes place and people who were Americans living in this country, but they were of a certain nationality, were basically being boycotted. So that's basically why Prohibition was enacted. It wasn't that they wanted to save the public or help anybody. It was that they wanted to punish people of German ancestry.
Wow.
Specifically beer makers. So that was the real reason that Prohibition was enacted. It's kind of like, after I watched that documentary and started reading more about it, it started making me rethink a lot of, like, all these things that we want to pass nowadays, and like all these new laws we want to institute. And you kind of have to question why, you know. Did the founding fathers want that many laws and regulations? And does that make us a better society?
No, they didn't. And yeah, so this whole this nationalism thing that's going on right now, it's going hand in hand with people suggesting that if you disagree with the president on anything, you are possibly committing treason. So I have that article about what treason actually means in, under the Constitution, and according to Supreme Court ruling in the case of the United States versus Aaron Burr. So I, as the fellow was about to call me a traitor, I shared that with them.
Good. I'm glad. And if anybody does that, really, are you kidding me? You haven't read the Constitution. Just, I don't know what to say anymore. That's ridiculous. But I'm glad you posted that.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, I usually don't engage, but some days I just feel like engaging with people.
Well, I think in your case, you were doing it from a point of education to show what the true intent of the Constitution is, not the made up ideas that we've created over time.
Right. Yeah. So there is, and people don't know how far they've moved from the original intent of the Constitution. They have no idea. And partly it's because they went to school and they were
taught a certain thing or way of thinking.
Right. And then they were told to pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States. And they were told that the United States is one nation, indivisible. Mm-hmm. But, all of that is, it's something that happened around the time of, it started around the time of a Civil War, after the Civil War.
Yeah. And it started really gathering momentum, I would say, in the early 1900s, which was the time of rapid fire assimilation. Like, don't be from where you were from anymore. Like, you have to give up your language. You can't speak a second language at home. You will be punished in public schools for speaking Spanish. This happened in Southern California, by the way. They used to give kids detention, and I never knew this, for speaking Spanish on the playground. That's so strange to me. I didn't know about all that until a few years ago.
Well, actually, when I was in Seattle, Washington, and this was second grade for me, not first grade. First grade was in Hampton Park in Romeoville, Illinois. But okay, so in Seattle, Washington, there was one other Israeli girl in the class, and we were told not to speak Hebrew to each other. So, yeah.
Really? See, that to me is like cutting off a cultural experience. I'm really happy. I think the only benefit of my education was I went to a public school, but it was a different kind. We were up in the mountains. Our teachers were very, I don't know, like they did a lot of their own lesson plans, and that would never happen today. And we were encouraged to learn about other cultures, and sometimes people spoke other languages, and it was a learning experience.
It's okay if you go to a private school and the people at the private school say, in this private school, we're only going to speak English, but when you go home, you can speak whatever language you want to. That's okay.
Yeah, I understand. But the funny thing is most private schools don't actually institute that. It seems to be the public school where they're very rigid about how you have to do everything, whether it be, we're only teaching to a test now. And there were teachers that said that the most important thing was for all the kids to get high scores on this test so we got more state funding. They didn't really care what you learned or if you comprehended the information or had your own opinion. The most important thing was the percentage of people that got a higher score on this particular test because it made the school look good. And that was it.
Yeah.
They admitted that.
Yeah. So after all of these things are instituted, then people who are survivors of that. So I think, in Louisiana, there were a lot of people who spoke French. Mm-hmm. And then at some point, the private schools were shut down somehow, or maybe I don't know how it happened, because for a long time, they still continued to teach in French in the private schools in Louisiana. And then suddenly everybody was in the public schools and they were speaking only English. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, it happened in a lot of places. And of course, Native Americans, even on the reservation,
yes,
their language was taken from them.
And we do have to remember that was a federal program where they would send them to these schools where they forced them to cut their hair, to have to speak in English only, to be Christians, to give up their, I mean, that is something we do have to keep in mind as well. Like there are a lot of things we don't really talk about that they never even really talk about that in US public curriculum actually, because it shows that they were imposing one way of being on all people. And the assimilation movement, that's what that was, for all people to assimilate, everybody to think the same way or to kind of have the same way of thinking. It is problematic, actually. And I never thought about it until a few years ago, actually.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. I'll tell you what. There is an English-only movement, and I support a certain aspect of it. Okay. And that's only that anything the government prints should be only in English. And as far as anybody doing anything privately, that's different.
Okay.
And I'll tell you why. Because otherwise, what ends up happening is that languages that have a certain percentage of people who speak them in an area get privileged over other languages. You know, so when I was attending a linguistics conference in Texas, and there were some people there who had this Hispanic movement, and they were talking about how everything should be printed in Spanish, and they counter-argued the fact that that would prejudice everything in favor of, you know, certain minorities and not others. But they said, but yeah, I mean, you know that all those other languages aren't important. Like, I mean, why would you bring up something ridiculous, a ridiculous language? That's what they said. A ridiculous language like Armenian. This wasn't a linguistics conference where we know that there is no such thing as a better language. You know, there's no.
Wow.
So I raised my hand and I said, excuse me, what did you just say about Armenian? And so he kind of backtracked. And later on, I was in the elevator with a few of my colleagues, and that guy came in. And so there was this kind of silence. And then he turned to me and he said, "Oh, so you're Armenian, huh?" And I said, "No, I'm not. I just don't think that there is such a thing as a ridiculous language." But, you know, this is how these people think, that they're so for whatever they think their side is.
Yeah, and only their side, and their side is the most important. Yeah.
So I support everybody's right to speak whatever they want to in their home, in their private business, as they're walking down the street with their friends. You know, I don't want to tell anybody, but I don't want to establish a second language, you know, after English, to say Spanish is more important than any other language.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. I also think too, like, just from what I've seen, like here in California, my own experience with my grandpa who spoke Arabic growing up, I think in the second generation, it just takes care of itself because the kids aren't as invested in the culture of their parents. And by the second generation, most people can't speak Spanish anyway because they're all conversing in English with their friends and their peers. So I feel like all this, to me, obsession with like what language should we speak, it kind of takes care of itself because most people speak English anyway. I've always perceived it more as a non-issue than what people make it out to be, but that's just my take. But I do see what you're saying about maybe just having government documents printed in English. I could see it would cost less money maybe, you know.
Well, I mean, the Constitution is written in English. So let's face it, English was the language of the founding document.
Yeah, it's the language of the land, and it's the language that most people speak. And by the second generation, most people primarily speak English. Like, that's just what happens. Yeah. So I don't think that's a big deal. Like, it's not an issue, really.
Right, but I also don't think that we should tell people what they should be speaking at home.
Oh, no. They're speak whatever language they want, like at home or with their friends. Like, nobody should tell anybody that, you know?
Right.
For sure.
And we do have 50 flags, so I don't know where you get this. I mean, where this fellow got the idea that we only have one flag.
I don't know. Maybe they're just very obsessed with one particular viewpoint. I don't like a lot of memes anyway, because it just seems like they share a basic idea and it gets shared a lot, and people don't really share our blog content or things like that. But like this meme pops up and everybody just has to share it without thinking about it. They just share it. And I don't really think they have like a lot of meaning, because it's not something you made yourself or created or that your friend created, and you're just sharing this random thing that you see. And sometimes it's so ironic, Aya. You go to the origin of the meme and it's promoting some radio station or some website, and people are basically giving free publicity to like an entity without knowing what they're sharing. Like, it works well. It's a great PR strategy for certain businesses, and people don't even know that they're promoting a business, you know. But then if their friend writes a blog, like some people are like, well, I can't share that, and that's like self-promotion, but they'll just promote some random business because they see this meme, don't think about it, share it randomly, you know.
Right.
That's always been my frustration with the memes.
Yeah. There are people who definitely will only share something if they think a large number of other people have already shared it.
But that, I guess I just don't think like everybody else, because if everybody else has already shared something, I certainly don't want to share it myself.
Right. Well, I will share something if it says exactly what I think. You know, I'm not going to be trying to be original. If somebody expresses exactly what I think, then I'll share that. But otherwise, no.
No, that's fine. I just like, for me, it's just my original intent when I joined Facebook was I wanted to share my blogs and things I created. I wasn't on there because I wanted to share memes or so I guess I just have a different reason.
No, I mean, that's why I joined too. I was told, okay, so you've written some books, so you've written some articles. Here's a great place where you can share that. But now they're stifling it.
Yeah, they're stifling it so much to a point, but then it's still funny because there's still groups of people that are like organizations or businesses that they create a meme and people resonate with it for some reason and share it widely, and they still find a way to promote themselves. So it depends, I guess. Like, if you could create a meme, Maya, that everybody wants to share, then maybe you can make it work on the website.
I did try. Remember, I made that meme with the about Sam. You know, you could vote.
Yeah, I like that, but I guess
I guess it did not resonate with people.
You have to make something with chocolate roses and a puppy dog or something. I don't know. Just think. I don't know.
Well, yeah, I do still have those chocolate roses that Sword got me, but I can't think of anything to say about that.
Maybe you wrote a story once about chocolate. Maybe you could somehow. That might be too complicated to put into a meme format, though.
Well, I mean, I had a whole song about chocolate under communism, but I suppose
I'm just thinking out loud here, just different thoughts. But I could never. Yeah. I can't think of meme at all, so I don't even try to do memes, because what kind of meme am I going to create that's going to resonate with anyone? I'm not going to try.
Okay, well, I guess so far I'm not a very good memer either.
Well, you've tried. I thought yours was pretty cool, actually, but hey, I don't know. Like, I don't know what people share, but anyway, I'm getting off track. Was there anything else that you wanted to kind of share at the moment going on?
Well, I guess we should publicize our next live stream on Friday on the main channel. It's going to be with Kate Gladstone, and she is an expert on teaching handwriting, and she also has a personal story that she will share with us.
Oh, nice. I'm very interested. I love handwriting, by the way. A lot of people say they don't know how to use handwriting anymore, so I think that would be a wonderful episode or live stream for everybody to tune into.
Yeah, well, I think we will probably have a very good audience for it. Is there anything you wanted to share that we haven't discussed yet?
I would just share like some of the wacky weather we've been having and how much it's been snowing locally. And I don't know why, but I just thought it was funny that somebody said that we didn't have mountains in Southern California and it didn't snow. So I shared a picture of it on Facebook. I know that's kind of silly, right? But I just get tired of that. People are like, oh, but there's all sorts of climates because California is a very large state and there's north and south and there's microclimates. It's kind of, you know how Lebanon has many microclimates? It's kind of the same thing, right? You know, it's not like you can go from the beach to like a semi-arid desert to the mountains and then to the high desert or the low desert. So we have microclimates, but some people think that just what you see on Hollywood is California, but there's so much more to it than that. So I shared a picture.
Well, maybe we should get Leslie Fish to sing a song that goes, "It Never Snows in California," because there was that "It Never Rains in California" song.
Oh, yeah. The funny thing, though, is if you listen to all the lyrics of "It Never Rains in Southern California, but it pours," it's kind of like a contradicting itself. Like everybody thinks it never rains in Southern California, but in January, it usually will pour sometimes. So that's the thing about that song. Like people, they hear the title, but they don't listen to the actual entire lyric of the song. But
well, yeah, but it could be like this. It could start, "It never snows in California except when it does," you know?
Yeah, exactly. Or at higher altitudes or on years or during years when it snows more. That's all. You know, it's just kind of funny. I wish I had taken a picture on Friday because it was amazing. It snowed down to like the almost 1,000-foot level, and it looked like a tea kettle as it was evaporating the steam into the sky. But I was just too lazy to go out there and find time to take a picture of it. But it was really cool. I had never seen anything like that ever before.
Wow. Well, we live in interesting times, at least in terms of the weather.
Yeah, the weather's interesting. Like the weather has been pretty consistent though right now.
Oh, here?
Yeah.
Well, we had a lot of weird events that were sort of like snow, but the snow was more like frozen. It was icy. It wasn't really snow, and it would snow and then it would melt and then it would freeze up again and it would melt. It wasn't fun for us, but right now it's all melted.
Okay, that's interesting though. At least it's kind of something different, you know.
Yeah.
Does Bo like it? I guess like he likes when it snows.
No, he doesn't. He likes to go outside. He likes it warm. You know, he's a chimp.
I know he likes it. I always think ideally, too bad if Project Bo were to someday be discovered, you could build him a larger area and somehow it could be like heated. Like I have all these dreams for Bo, and I hope that happens. You know. I
hope so too. I hope so too. Either that or he and I are going to have to move to Israel. I don't know.
Well, maybe. I don't know. Israel is pretty happening right now. They have some good hummus, so maybe. I don't know.
Oh, maybe. Yeah.
I don't know. Like, maybe you're not missing out on much. And if Missouri can't see how great you guys are and you go to Israel, it's their loss, you know? Hey, you know?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. So far, we're staying here. But
I think I should stay there right now. That's what I think.
Yeah.
But Israel is an interesting place. Like, I would like to visit Israel and Lebanon maybe someday if it ever happens.
Yeah, I think you should. You definitely should. I don't think I'd be allowed to visit Lebanon, but maybe the climate could change someday. Maybe.
But, I mean, I want to. I just, right now, I have to see how my, things go in life. We'll see. But anyway, was there anything else that we should discuss that's going on at the moment or that might be interesting that you can think of?
No, I think we've pretty much covered everything that's going on right now, but we have a very interesting live stream coming up on Friday.
I'm excited about this one. Handwriting is something I really enjoy, so I will look forward to it. And I did want one closing thought. I have an interesting idea for maybe a live stream we can do on this second channel, but I will message you and see what you think, okay?
Okay, I'll look forward to that.
Okay. But you have a good night, Aya.
Good night, Julia.
Bye.